starting with the next chapter today in class 12th, that is biomolecules. Now what are biomolecules? Molecules in the living systems. Bio means living systems. So the molecules which are there in the living systems, these are called biomolecules. Living systems actually are made up of various complex biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, vitamins, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, enzymes, all these are biomolecules. Now first we have to study carbohydrates in this. Carbohydrates, the definition of carbohydrates is hydrates of carbon. This was the definition given initially, but actually these are optically active polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones. Or the compounds which produce such units on hydrolysis. So this is a definition of carbohydrates. These are optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. Optically active means they will have a chiral carbon in them. There is a chiral carbon in them. And polyhydroxy means so many hydroxyl groups are there. Along with that, they will have either aldehyde group or ketone group in them. So these kind of the optically active polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketones are called carbohydrates. Or we can say those compounds which on hydrolysis are giving these kind of units, these are called carbohydrates. Some of carbohydrates, they are sweet in taste, and those are known as sugars. Some carbohydrates which have a sweet taste, which are sweet in taste, these are called sugars also. An example of a common sugar, most common example of common sugar is the sugar that we use in our homes, that is a sucrose. Common sugar used in our homes is sucrose. Another example of carbohydrate which has a sweet taste is the carbohydrate that is found in a milk. Milk is also slightly sweet in taste. It's because of lactose in the milk. Sugar in milk is lactose. Carbohydrates, they are also called saccharides. Carbohydrates are also called saccharides. The reason is because in Greek, saccharin means this saccharin in Greek means sugar. That is why carbohydrates are also known as saccharides. So this is just the introduction of the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, these are optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. And some of these are sweet in taste, so these are known as sugars. The examples of two carbohydrates which have a sweet taste is a sucrose and a lactose. And carbohydrates are also known as saccharides because in Greek saccharin means sugar. Now next topic after this is classification of carbohydrates. How we can classify the carbohydrates. Classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates we classify according to their hydrolysis. So based on their hydrolysis, we can divide the carbohydrates into three types. First is monosaccharide, and then we have oligosaccharides, and third is polysaccharides. Monosaccharides are those carbohydrates which cannot be divided further to give simpler units. That means these are not hydrolyzed further. A carbohydrate which cannot be divided, or we can say cannot be broken further to give simpler units of polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. Aldehydes or ketones. These are called monosaccharides. An example of monosaccharides are glucose and fructose. Glucose, fructose, they come under monosaccharides. Even ribose comes under monosaccharides because they are not hydrolyzed further. Next classification is the, after monosaccharide we have a second type, oligosaccharides. So carbohydrates which on hydrolysis are giving 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. Carbohydrates that gives 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. When we hydrolyze them, they are giving 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. So these are known as oligosaccharides. So oligosaccharides includes the disaccharides also, trisaccharides also, tetrasaccharides also, because there are 2 to 10 monosaccharide units that we get on hydrolysis. Examples of oligosaccharides: sucrose. Sucrose on hydrolysis gives 2 molecules of monosaccharides. And these are glucose and fructose. So 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of fructose we will get when we do hydrolysis of sucrose. So on hydrolysis it gives 1 molecule each of glucose and fructose. Next example is maltose. Maltose is also oligosaccharide. This also on hydrolysis gives 2 molecules of monosaccharides, and both of these molecules are of glucose here. So on hydrolysis it gives 2 molecules of glucose. It is made up of the glucose units only. Third example here we can take is of lactose. Lactose on hydrolysis, it gives 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of galactose. Glucose and galactose. So these are the 3 examples of oligosaccharides, which are actually the disaccharides, because on hydrolysis they are giving the 2 molecules of monosaccharides. Now third type of the carbohydrate, monosaccharide, oligosaccharide, third one is the polysaccharides. So polysaccharides are those carbohydrates which on hydrolysis are giving large number of monosaccharide units. Carbohydrates which give a large number of monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. These are known as polysaccharides. And examples of polysaccharides are starch, cellulose, glycogen, gums. All these are polysaccharides because on hydrolysis they are giving number of monosaccharide units. Starch, cellulose, glycogen. And polysaccharides, they are not sweet in taste. We have done some of the carbohydrates have a sweet taste. Those carbohydrates are known as sugars. But polysaccharides are not sweet in taste. That means these are not known as sugar. These are called non-sugars. Hence, they are also called non-sugars. This is a classification based on the hydrolysis of the carbohydrates. But now we have another type of classification, that is we can divide the carbohydrates into reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars also. Reducing sugars and the sugars which are non-reducing in nature. Since we have done carbohydrates, they contain aldehyde or they contain a ketone group. That means they are reduced by Tollens reagent and by the Fahling solution. If they are reducing the Fahling solution and Tollens reagent, then these are known as reducing sugars. Carbohydrates which reduce Tollens reagent and Fahling solution are reducing sugars. All monosaccharides are reducing sugars. So example is all monosaccharides. While non-reducing sugars are those carbohydrates which do not reduce Tollens reagent or Fahling solution. Tollens reagent and Fahling solution. Examples of non-reducing sugars are polysaccharides. So all polysaccharides, actually they are non-reducing sugars. Polysaccharides. So this is a classification of the carbohydrates. Now we have to do the monosaccharides in detail, glucose and fructose. So next topic here is the monosaccharides. Definition just now we have done that these cannot be hydrolyzed further, but these also can be divided or classified as aldose and ketose. Aldose means they have aldehyde group and ketose means they contain a ketone group. Glucose contains aldehyde group, so that's an example of aldose, and the fructose contains a ketone group, so that's an example of the ketose. So if a monosaccharide contains an aldehyde group, then it is aldose. Example is glucose. And if a monosaccharide contains a keto group, then that is ketose. Example is fructose. So now we have to do glucose and fructose in detail. So first we are coming to the glucose. Source of glucose. From where we get glucose? It's sweet in taste, so from the sweet fruits we get glucose. Then honey also has glucose in it. Ripe grapes, these contain glucose. After the source of glucose, next is a preparation of glucose, how it is prepared. So there are two methods of preparation of glucose. First one is from sucrose, or that is also called cane sugar. So when sucrose is boiled, that is C12H22O11, this is sucrose. When this is boiled with dilute HCl or H2SO4. Then it will give equal amounts of glucose and fructose. So actually sucrose on hydrolysis, when we do the hydrolysis of sucrose, it is giving one molecule of glucose and one molecule of the fructose. The formula is the same here. Sucrose, let's say this one is glucose and this one is fructose. The molecular formula is same while the structures are different. Glucose has aldehyde group while fructose has ketone group in it. This is the first method from sucrose. Second one is from starch. It's a polysaccharide. So commercially glucose is obtained from the starch. Starch formula is C6H10O5. So C6H12O6, if we remove the water from that and whole N, that becomes the formula for the starch. When we do the hydrolysis of this, again in presence of an acid, on hydrolysis this one will break to give N number of glucose molecules. So we are getting the glucose from the starch and from the sucrose. From sucrose we get glucose and fructose, while from the starch we will get N molecules of the glucose on doing the hydrolysis of the starch. So next, now after the preparation, the important point here is structure of glucose. What is the structure of glucose? Formula we know, molecular formula, but what is the structure of glucose? And this topic is very important. It was assigned the following structure, and the structure is on the basis of the evidences, following evidences that we will write just now. Only from the evidences that we'll write, we have given a structure to a glucose, that is it has CHO as first carbon. Then there are 4 carbon atoms, each of these they will have the OH group attached to them. Then is the last carbon that also has OH with it. So there are total 5 OH groups in this. This is the structure that is assigned to glucose. But how we have reached to this structure, that is our next part. So first point here in the structure is, whenever we have to give the structure of any compound, first thing is the molecular formula of that compound we have to find out. So its molecular formula was found to be C6H12O6, and molecular formula of the compounds we calculate by taking up the percentages of these elements. Then that we have done in the 11th class, empirical formula, molecular formula. So using that concept, we find out the molecular formula of the compounds. So we know that there are 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen and 6 oxygen atoms in it. Second thing is, when glucose was heated for a long time, when it was heated with HI, on prolonged heating with HI, it gives normal hexane. Normal hexane means all 6 carbon atoms are in straight chain. That shows that even in glucose, all the 6 carbon atoms are in a straight chain. The reaction is like this. If we take this structure of glucose, react this with HI, prolonged heating, we will get normal hexane from this. Because we are getting normal hexane, so this suggests that all 6 carbon atoms in case of the glucose, they are in a straight chain. This suggests that all the 6 carbon atoms, they are linked in a straight chain. Now next, after this, what we'll do is we do the reaction of glucose with the hydroxylamine with the HCN, and it reacts with both hydroxylamine as well as with the HCN. Hydroxylamine is NH2OH. With NH2OH it forms oxime, with HCN, it forms glucose cyanohydrin. So only those compounds they will form oxime and cyanohydrin which have a carbonyl group in them. So if we are reacting the glucose, I am taking the reaction of glucose with the hydroxylamine. It's NH2OH. This reacts with the CHO, and from here this removal of water, and this links up with the hydroxylamine by the double bond. So CH double bond NOH, then is rest of the part. This is glucose oxime. This compound is called glucose oxime. Similarly, if we react it with the HCN, then the HCN will add up to this CHO group and will get the cyanohydrin. And only the aldehyde and ketones, they react with NH2OH and with the HCN. So this reaction shows that it contains a carbonyl group. Glucose has a carbonyl group. This shows that it has a carbonyl group. So first we know that this is the formula. Then we know all 6 carbon atoms in glucose are present in a straight line. Then now we know that it contains a carbonyl group, aldehyde, or a ketone group is there in glucose. Next now, glucose gets oxidized with bromine water, and it forms gluconic acid. Gluconic acid. So see the reaction of glucose with bromine water. Bromine water is oxidizing agent, but it will oxidize only the aldehyde to the carboxylic group. Rest of the part, alcohols, it cannot oxidize, so it will remain as it is, and this compound formed here is called gluconic acid. This reaction shows that there is an aldehyde group in case of glucose, not the ketone group, because only aldehydes of bromine can oxidize to the carboxyl group. So this reaction suggests that carbonyl group is an aldehyde. Carbonyl group is an aldehyde. Next we have, when we do acetylation of glucose. Acetylation means introducing acetyl group in glucose. Now we have done in the aldehydes chapter that acetylation means when we are removing the H of the alcohol or phenol or amines by the acetyl group, that is known as acetylation. So here in this case there is no possibility of phenol, no possibility of amine, because in molecular formula there is no nitrogen. That means if it can undergo acetylation, there is the OH group in case of glucose. Acetylation of glucose with acetic anhydride, it gives glucose pentaacetate. Pentaacetate now means that there are 5 OH groups in glucose. So its reaction is glucose reacting with acetic anhydride or acid chloride also we can take. CHO will remain as it is. This hydrogen, these hydrogens, all these 4 hydrogens here are replaced by this acetyl group, that is COCH3 whole 4, and even this hydrogen here, this is replaced by COCH3, and this compound formed is known as glucose pentaacetate. So this confirms the presence of 5 OH groups in glucose, and all these are linking in a straight chain, that is these are attached with different carbon atoms. This confirms the presence of 5 OH groups and attached to different carbon atoms. All these are attached to the different carbon atoms. Next, after this, we don't know that how many of these OH groups are primary and how many of these are secondary in nature. So next reaction here is sixth reaction. When we do oxidation of glucose with a strong oxidizing agent, that is nitric acid, then glucose as well as the gluconic acid that we'll get by the oxidation of glucose with the bromine water, both these, they get oxidized to saccharic acid. This confirms that one OH group here is a primary OH group. See the reaction here. If we take glucose, this is glucose, and even if we take gluconic acid means the CHO with bromine water has oxidized to COOH. Then rest of the part is same. Oxidation of both of these, this also and of the gluconic acid also. We are doing their oxidation with the nitric acid. This CHO will also oxidize to the COOH. In this case, already COOH is here, so this will remain as it is only. And these OH will also remain as it is in both the cases. But this OH will get oxidized to COOH, and this compound is saccharic acid. That shows that primary OH group is there in case of the glucose, because it can oxidize only the primary alcoholic group. This indicates the presence of primary alcoholic group in glucose. So from all these reactions, the structure of glucose is confirmed, and after studying many properties and many spatial arrangements also, after studying many properties, the exact spatial arrangement of glucose was given by Fischer, and that structure of Fischer is known as Fischer projection structure. So we are drawing now the Fischer projection structure of glucose. In Fischer projection structure, we will take the vertical line and the horizontal lines, and wherever the vertical and horizontal lines they are intersecting, their carbon atoms are present. So we are writing the first carbon CHO, then the whole chain is shown by a vertical line, and the last carbon we are writing is CH2OH, and then at this point where the horizontal and vertical line are intersecting, their carbon atoms are present. So total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 carbon atoms are present in a straight chain. First carbon is CHO, and this last one will have the primary alcoholic group. Now after this, see the structure of glucose. Here we have OH, OH, H and OH. Now H, OH, H and H. To understand the structure of glucose, just see from the bottom, this last carbon, 3 OH are coming on the right hand side, then is hydrogen, then is OH. But if we have OH this side will be the hydrogen atom. If H is here, this side will be the OH. OH this side, so here will be the H. So learn the right hand side atoms, and opposite to that you can write on the other side. So this is the Fischer projection structure of glucose.